Alrighty, it's that time of the week again. Doctor Who Dinosaurs on a Spaceship just aired. So, let's take a little look, see what happened, see what I thought of it. Again, I'm much like Asylum of the Daleks. I'm going to say that there will be spoilers. There will be spoilers aplenty. Do not expect me not to spoil this. If you have not seen it, go watch it. Etc., etc., etc. Spoiler warning over. Alright. The first thing I want to say is that the title itself, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, I when I first heard it, I was a little bit skeptical because I'm more into the more epic or I don't want to say poetic, but more dramatic sounding titles that aren't just for the lol factor, almost. Asylum of the Daleks sounds fine. A Town Called Mercy, that sounds fine as well. Stuff like that. What else? The Time of Angels, like really dramatic, good sounding titles. That's what I like. Not really so much just titles that are just for dinosaurs on a spaceship, that type of thing. Though I will admit, this episode did surprise me quite a bit. I didn't really think of it that much, other than just the title, because unlike Asylum, there wasn't really that much I was expecting, and it pretty much was just I don't want to say filler, but well, kind of between major plot stuff episode, which apparently this season's gonna be a lot of them. But anyway, I wasn't expecting too much with this one, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was quite pleasantly surprised. I think it's a little bit better than Asylum, if only just because they got the humor in a bit more, and it just felt more like a Doctor Who episode. Asylum felt like it was trying to take itself a bit more seriously than usual, and I'll get into some of my feelings about Asylum like a week after, like probably like a few days after the half season ends, like after Angels Take Manhattan airs, about maybe half a week after that. I'll do like a little retrospective on what I thought of the season so far, and just what I thought about the episodes after seeing them a second time, stuff like that. But anyway, no, I thought this was a really good episode. I thought it was a little bit better than Asylum. What I think makes it work was, like I said, just the comedy was out in spades, and whereas sometimes with Doctor Who can have little plot holes, and that kind of bugs me, if there's something major that you can kind of tell that people just kind of threw their hands up and just said, "Frig it, it's Doctor Who," that kind of stuff works. That kind of stuff's fine. The stuff with Queen Nefertiti, of course. I mean, she ends up with a friggin' wild game hunter who's, what was his name, Riddell. She ends up with him at the end of it. Do I even need to explain what kind of effects that must have on space-time? The Queen of Egypt, the Queen of Egypt, like, having a romantic affair with some random guy? Like, I don't know that much about Nefertiti, but still, geez. But I don't have a problem with the big ones where they just kind of throw their hands up and say, "It's Doctor Who." You know, stuff like that. It's Doctor Who. They kind of just it's for comedy's sake. It's for lightheartedness' sake, and I can understand that. It's not doesn't have it. I can't talk right now. Excuse me. It's not without its share of issues, but I can overlook them. But aside from that, the dinosaurs were great. The animatronics were simplistic, but it's Doctor Who. I wasn't expecting that much, and the CG was not used that much, and I always appreciate Doctor Who for doing that. Speaking of which, actually, I just realized those robots that were in there. Wow, some dude must have been packed tight into a suit because there were no actual there was. I don't think that the robots were at any kind of CG. So, geez, credit to him on that one. But again, I'm getting off track. No, the effects were fine. The dinosaurs were fine. Excuse me. But one of the things that I think really did work was the main villain, the old guy you see in the commercials screaming like a maniac. His name is Solomon, and he's a bit cliche, but at the same time he works just because, really, they didn't need anybody major for this. They didn't need anybody really important. They just needed somebody that you were designed to hate. And they did that pretty well without making him too corny or cliche. He did a good job. He was hateable. But this is actually where I'm going to get into one of the biggest spoilers, which is the ending of the episode, which is the U.S. force, I want to say unit, but I know it isn't, were sending missiles towards the ship coming towards Earth. The Silurian ship, by the way, that was actually a really nice thing that kind of helped me get into it a bit more, was the fact that it was a Silurian ship. But anyway, so they were sending missiles towards the ship. That's the dinosaurs and Solomon and everybody. And what ended up happening was the Doctor put the ship's signal on Solomon's little ship that boarded the Ark, the Silurian ship, and basically sent Solomon on his way out to get killed. Which I was not expecting him to go that dark. Again, I think this might be this season's big thing with the Doctor, is him just kind of getting darker. Like, we've seen him get angry, now he's just saying, he's not getting angry, he's just saying frigate. Which, again, we kind of saw coming, and again, is still foreshadowed in A Town Called Mercy. But that's kind of what I'm talking about, is he just seems to be getting darker. Where in this case, he just basically put him on a ship, put him on Solomon's ship, which he came there in, put him on there, sent him off into space, and he got blown up. He just basically said frigate. It works, because I was getting, it works to the point where I was getting Ninth Doctor Christopher Eccleston flashbacks. So it wasn't out of place so much as it was just a bit extreme. But it worked. It worked. But no, Solomon was really good. The finale was good, if a little... How do I explain this? It was good, if a little... It seemed like I was... Maybe this is just me again, but I was more focusing on the fact that the Doctor just basically blew somebody up than I was the actual climax of the story. But it worked. Another thing that I ended up getting brought up in this was Roy's father, who was probably the worst part of this episode. And I don't mean the acting was bad. The credit to the actor, I don't know his name, but the guy who played him, I believe Roy's father, I believe his name is Brian Williams, the actual character. You know, acting was fine. It's just he seemed like he was really kind of unnecessary, and he was just there to kind of be like, Rory has a dad. You know, stuff like that. It wasn't bad. Again, it wasn't so much bad, it was just kind of unnecessary. But he was fine, you know, at the end he kind of had his little moments where he was traveling all over the globe because the Doctor was bringing him places, and him staring at the Earth from the TARDIS, stuff like that. It was okay, especially in terms of the finale for his character, but, it was just a little unnecessary. Speaking of which, Nefertiti and Riddell, they were nifty, but my only real problem is why in the name of God did the Doctor find he had to bring an entire group of people? I mean, inspecting a derelict spaceship is nothing huge. I mean, for God's sakes, he did that with the Christmas special. Again, the Doctor, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I'm going to try and see if I can mention that in every one of these videos now. But, no, in that, he had no problem doing it himself. Obviously, at that point, the Ponce thought he was... Or he thought the Ponce thought he was dead. Which I just realized something, but that's... I'm getting off topic again. But no, I have no idea why he thought he should bring a team with him. Or a gang. Which, okay, again, the comedy was excellent in this episode. That's really the highlight of this episode. It was just how really funny and really energetic it was. Like, it felt so good. Like, it was a really good episode. Just like I said, it's got a few minor ticks that just seemed kind of unnecessary and just for the sake of, for no other sake but screw it, it's Doctor Who. I don't mind minor plot points like that, but, or minor plot holes like that, or just, again, Nefertiti ending up with a African big game hunter. Just why did Nefertiti and the African big game hunter have to be there? But no, it was a very good episode. I was actually rather pleasantly surprised. You know, very funny. Good character development for the Doctor. Amy and Rory were both really good. Again, really funny. Solomon was a pretty good villain. You know, he was very memorable, very interesting. A bit, again, maybe a bit one-dimensional at times, but good. They made you hate him, trust me. But no, just everything, it went well. I was very pleasantly surprised with this one. But this is where things are going to start getting interesting, because Town Called Mercy is where the Doctor's, where this whole, the Doctor going a bit darker thing seems to be climaxing, or at least getting more to the point. And I'm very interested in where that's going to go. Between that, the Power of Three having Unit in it. I believe it was the Power of Three. Forgive me if I'm mixing up my things here. Mixing up my thoughts here. Blah. I don't know what my thoughts are. Like I said, I can't talk right now. I'm a little pooped. But anyway. No, that's where things are going to start getting big, is the Town Called Mercy. And then Unit in Power of Three. And then the Angels. And then Oswin returning. You know, all of these things just kind of compacting. It's going to be a very interesting season, just from what I've seen so far, and what I think is coming. So, no, I'm very interested in this. Trying to think of something else. No, that's about it then. Next week, Town Called Mercy, we shall see where this big Doctor thing's going to end up, and hopefully by then I may have actually got my lazy butt off and actually watched that damn Christmas special. I think I might actually save that for, like after Series 5 ends, to start to get that chunk of Series 4.5 done. But anyway, I'm rambling for my damn written reviews. But anyway, once again, I am the Immortal K of insanelytrust.blogspot.com or CA. I think it's com, actually. I'll put a link at the bottom and in the description anyway. Anyway, adios.